Now what I'd like to do is talk to you a little bit about how to warm up the voice. You know, it's really important to do that. And what do I mean by warming up? Well, you know how athletes have to warm up various parts of their body too, whether it's their arms or their legs, their back. We have to do the same thing. Think of your whole body as the instrument. And so you have to warm up the body. One thing I want you to promise me that you will never do again is warm up in the car. And there's several reasons why. First of all, your posture is not conducive to good singing when you're sitting in the car. You're not focused on your voice, you're not focused on your body, you're hopefully focused on driving. The second thing is, especially if it's in a colder climate or maybe in the wintertime, you have a lot of dry heat going on right now in the car. And so that's going to affect how you warm up and what your voice does. One of the things I should say that's really important right now, and a very good colleague of mine, Bonnie Faber, who preaches this all the time, is that we need to have very, very good hydration. Hydration of the body is so important, and it's important for the voice too, because when you're dehydrated, it will show up in the voice. I can give you a perfect example of that. One time I was out in a boat having a wonderful afternoon on a lake, and I had to go sing that evening at a concert, and I had a very difficult time because I became so dehydrated that my voice really did change. So I learned a very big lesson at a very early age. So hydration is so important. So warming up in the car is not the best thing to do. You can use your voice and do some speaking exercises. Here's one exercise that I like to do that I learned in theater class. And see if you can repeat this after me. A big black bug bit a big black bear, made the big black bear bleed blood. Try that, okay? And try to do that on a rhythmic basis, kind of like this. A big black bug bit a big black bear, made the big black bear bleed blood. I'll clap. Big black bug bit a big black bear, made a big black bear bleed blood. Again, a big black bug bit a big black bear, made a big black bear bleed blood. It helps to get some of the dexterity that you need in the tongue and in the mouth and with the teeth as well. There's another one. There's many kinds that you could do too. And so working with these kinds of muscles, first of all, we tend to forget about these muscles. You need to have lots of dexterity in these muscles. So try doing exercises like this. You could do those in the car very easily as you're driving to your appointment or to your liturgy. So those kinds of things, it's really important to get those muscles going. Not that you want to tense the neck, but just opening up all these. In fact, I do this with my children's choir. Sometimes I'll say, let's pretend we have a string attached to the corners of our mouth, and what we're going to do is we're going to go like this. Now you could do a little bit of vocalism like that by going ee-oo, 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 ee-oo. Okay? That'll help get those muscles going. Now, we already, in previous segments, we talked about breathing. We talked a little bit about how to focus the voice. Now let's just warm the voice up. It's important to use the lower and the middle part of the voice first. Don't try to touch on the high notes or the low notes. Okay? So I'm going to reach over here on my piano, and since I'm a tenor, but you could do this for most altos, sopranos, and basses too. Just do it like on a D major scale. Just 5 notes like that. Ni, ne, na. And I use the ni first to get it focused into the sinus cavities to get the resonance going. The ne brings it a little bit more forward, and the na, you have to open up and blossom the mouth, but try to maintain that same resonance. So let's try that again. Ni, ne, na. 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 So doing little triads like that is a good way to start. Then you want to take a little bit of a rest. Take a 30-second rest. A lot of times when I'm giving voice lessons, I like to talk to my students and they don't realize that I'm actually giving them some vocal rest. Now, go back down to that D major triad again, and let's try just 5 notes like this. Ni, ne, na. Try that. Ni, ne, na. 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 Ni, wouldn't go much further than that. I would try to do those kinds of things just in the middle voice, just to warm up the voice for a few minutes like that. And this is exactly what I do with my choirs too. Same technique. Another thing that you can try to do too is to try a voiced TH sound. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times we do words like with, it's not voiced. With, it's different than with. So using a TH and an OI sound, like thoi, that helps to round the sound a little bit more, but doing the voiced th keeps the breath support constantly going. It's connected all the way to the diaphragm. So let's go back down to the D major again, and let's try this. Thoi, 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 thoi. 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 And then you can go down, and then you can start to expand the range a little bit more as you start to feel a little bit more warmed up like that. Once you feel a little warmed up, you can start using some head voice, and in particularly men, you can do this. In women, it'll sound a little bit differently. You don't have exactly what's called a falsettone or a falsetto voice. But for men, it's important to do this as well, so that you might want to try this. And you can do 5-note scales that way too. The reason that's important, it also helps to check your vocal health of your vocal folds. And what do I mean by that? Well, if anybody's ever gone to an ENT specialist, a lot of times they'll take a scope right there in the office and they'll look into your look down your throat and look at the vocal cords, vocal folds, to see what the health of them are like, if they're inflamed or whether they have nodes or anything like that. And most oftentimes they will ask you to do a high-pitched sound like that. Because that gets them vibrating very, very quickly, okay? And then they can see if there's any damage to it. If they're really thick, they're not going to be vibrating as much, and so you won't be able to do a falsetto voice like that. Another way you can do this, and men and women can do this as well too, I call it my roller coaster effect. And that's where I start anywhere in your middle range, and you just want to kind of go up the scale and down the scale like this. You can start into your lower voice and go up and down that way. Try to do it with the breath. So a long, deep breath. Now I'm buzzing my lips and making them vibrate like that, and that's a good check to make sure that the breath is connected all the way down from my diaphragm and all the way up, and I'm not blocking it, I'm not stopping it, I'm not grabbing it with any glottal stops or anything like this in the glottis, and it keeps it nice and connected, okay? So those are some hints about doing some warm-ups. Then what you can start doing is maybe doing a couple of songs, maybe like a warm-up with an opening song or a closing song if they're the normal hymns. Start doing something like that, and then that'll gradually get you going. And then finally go into what are your psalms, what are your communion songs or antiphonal kinds of things. So hopefully those are a few tips of how to warm the voice up gently, easily, and professionally.